I'm going to ask you this question, and I know the answer to it, and this is why we really wanted to have you on here. What's your secret? How are you getting 242% more response than everyone else?
Um, well, a suggestion that Christian and I came up with. He had seen this before, and we were brainstorming after the first campaign had been running for a little bit. And we're like, okay, it's the messaging wasn't bad, but maybe it came off robotic. Um, and so what we wanted to do is to humanize it a bit. And so I added a really cheesy dad joke that only security people would get. And that at least gets people to like, oh, okay. I even I had a ha ha ha, really good one, not interested. But at least it got a response, right?
Yeah.
So it was something that at least drew a little bit more attention. And maybe they'll pay attention later, or when I come back to them in a couple of months, they'll remember that kind of thing.
Now, is that your personality, dad jokes, or I'm just curious?
No,
No.
I do jokes, but usually they're edgy. So something that would be appropriate
Yeah.
for work, I had to think about for a bit. But so I'll tell it. It's like it's the LinkedIn, it's the connection message, and it was like I would tell you a joke about UDP, which is it's a connection protocol between computers that doesn't care whether the other side received it. So it's like I tell you this joke about UDP, but you might not get it. Ha.
Yeah.
And they had to think, they're like, I might not get, oh, I got, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I love that. And let's dissect that for a moment.
Sure.
That does a couple things. Number one, it establishes credibility, believe it or not, because you show your niche, which is very important when you're working in a niche. They need to see that you can help them. You understand them. You know what they're dealing with. And if you come up with a joke that even takes them a second to get, and then they realize what you're doing, it catches them off guard a little bit. So that's tremendous. Okay. Response rate's great. You get opportunities. Now, all those things are really cool. So I think, having that happen, but the other thing it does is it shows authenticity, who you are, right? You're probably a fun guy. You're not willing to make jokes, probably at your expense sometimes. You're okay with that. And, it's been a buzzword for a long time. Like, be authentic. And this buzzword. And I think people take that to an extreme sometimes. When I think what I take it as is if you are you in your messaging, in your marketing, in your conversations, in your sales process, if you are you, people see that. They know they're dealing with a real person, someone who cares, someone who's just being them. And they can say, I don't really like that Nick guy. Hey, you don't like everybody, right? But at least you know where you stand. And that whole process, especially like you said, when we're in this virtual world, creates consistency that someone needs to build trust. And I think no matter if we do take that robotic tone, which is okay, if that's us, we're dry, and that's us in personality too, there's consistency. And that's really important. I've seen that time and time again. So that's great. And the other thing I wanted to just kind of bring around too, I think is interesting. Again, there's no magic bullet, right? You're doing something that works for your niche. You know your niche. And that's something I really, we're going to get to some questions here, because I think that's a thing everyone's looking for, like that one thing that's going to put them over the edge. That's where that work comes in. You need to really understand your niche. You need to take that feedback. You need to test some things and work through some things. So that's why I really love your story. And again, thank you for joining us. Give Nick some love here. I'm going to ask